morning, folks. This is Deb Delapiana, and I need to turn up. There we go. This is your Shut the Fuck Up. But we get a little extra at the end, too. So, we're going to start out first with, the list of people that I had posted yesterday about, what they all had in common. And the one thing they all had in common is they're all full of shit, okay? And I've actually added Lauren Boebert to that list. I didn't put her on the post because I didn't have room for her name and because she really fucking irritates me. But let's get started here because, time's a wasting and I got to work today. So we're going to start with one of my favorites, Maggot McCain. Megyn. Megyn ripped into Beto O'Rourke yesterday for hijacking Governor Abbott's bullshit press conference about the killings, the recent killings in Texas. So once again, we had a disgruntled teen wait until his 18th birthday to purchase AR-15s to go in and commit mass murder. He killed 19 children and 2 teachers. That's 21 people. And it's almost as bad as Sandy Hook, which was 20 children and 6 teachers. And Megyn McCain, in her infinite wisdom, actually, Beto O'Rourke, let's back up a little. Beto O'Rourke kind of broke into Governor Abbott's press conference. And Megyn McCain, he basically laid the onus on Governor Abbott in the middle of that press conference. And whether you agree with him or not is immaterial. It's a fucking press conference, okay, folks? It's a politician holding a press conference. And yes, it was in the midst of a horrific murder in Texas, once again. And is it a horrifying time? It is, but people need to understand this. We all spend all day long hearing the right wing defend everybody's First Amendment speech rights to the point where we have insurrectionists in our governing body who are out there spreading lies and innuendo constantly on social media, constantly in press conferences, and no one ever calls them out. But we have one politician walk in and put the onus on another politician, and all of a sudden, Texans don't need a 2-bit politician like Beto hijacking their horror. Well, Megyn, shut the fuck up, because nobody needs to hear the opinion of a 2-bit washed up fucking talk show host passing judgment on anyone else. End of story. I can't stand Megyn McCain. She's an entitled little white bitch, and honestly, shut the fuck up, okay? It is time the people understand that Governor Abbott made it infinitely easier for people to get guns in the state of Texas, okay? He made it infinitely easier without licenses, registering, background checks, or training. We legislate women's uteruses to the point where women having miscarriages are being arrested. We regulate automobiles. In order to get an automobile, you have to take driving lessons, pass a driving test, carry a license, and then carry a registration on that car in your glove compartment in case you are ever stopped by a policeman. Why? Because cars can be lethal weapons, as we have seen in numerous Republican-led states where they've been driven into protesters, and in those states where they have relaxed the laws so that the drivers of those cars can no longer be held accountable for running over protesters. So please, shut the fuck up, okay? Shut the fuck up. It is time now for some kind of control here on this guns thing, and we're going to talk about that later on. She's the first shut the fuck up of the day. Here's the second. Lauren Boebert, Idiot of the Month Club, every month. in her statement that after 9/11 they didn't ban planes. No, after 9/11 they grounded planes. They grounded planes for days, and they changed the face of flying forever, to the point where personally I can't stand flying. I took a trip to fucking Florida after 9/11 to go see the Red Sox at spring training. Getting through customs was a nightmare. Okay, not customs, but getting through the line, the NSA line, was a nightmare. Shoes off, bags open, coats off, body scans. People, Lauren Boebert is a certified lunatic, okay? Flying will never be the same again. Flying changed. Flying changed because whatever kind of control mechanisms they had for people getting on planes back in the day was not enough to prevent what happened on 9/11. People cannot carry weapons on planes. People have to be subject to greater search, and it's still going on today. We're not trying to take all guns out of people's hands. We are saying, however, and I'm going to say it again, and you'll hear it several times in this conversation, that AR-15s, AK-47s should not be part of the Second Amendment conversation. You know, if Justice Alito can say that the procedure of abortion does not exist specifically in the Constitution, then the carrying of automatic weapons, AR-15s, AK-47s, or anything else along those lines, handguns, whatever they are, were not part of the conversation when the Constitution was written. In fact, the only thing that was being carried were long rifles and muskets, and maybe some handguns. No one's trying to take all guns away. We are trying to tell you that they need to be regulated like vehicles. And if you are a law-abiding citizen, you won't have a problem with background checks. I drove for Instacart, and I had to have a background check to be able to bring food to people's houses. Okay? I went to work. I tried to go to work for Costco. Not only did I have to have a background check, but I had to have a drug test in a state where marijuana was legal. That is the right of private businesses. They have those rights. In order to drive, you have to carry a registration. In order to carry a lethal weapon like a gun, and I don't give a fuck if it's a pea shooter or an AK-47, you need to have, you should need to have a license. You should need to know how to handle that gun, just like you should need to know how to take a right-hand turn, a fucking left-hand turn, and stop at a stop sign with a fucking car. How many children have been killed because their parents are stupid and left their guns armed and on their tables? You know, none of this is an infringement on anybody's rights, so shut the fuck up. Where do we go from here? Let's see. Yeah. You know, one would think by now, after 1 million dead from COVID, that y'all out there would be really sick and tired of the bullshit that comes out of the mouths of crazy-ass right-wing fucking politicians and enablers on social media like Candace Owens, one of the biggest losers on the planet, someone whose stupidity is only exceeded by her ability to spread bullshit. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene is pushing the notion that Bill Gates is behind the big outbreak of monkeypox. First of all, monkeypox is not COVID-19. It's not anything like COVID-19, but it is a concern. Whenever something is spreading through the public health system, spreading through the population, just like AIDS, just like Ebola, just like every other illness, it needs to be reported. You would think by now, are you still sitting around at your doors waiting for the government to come in their uniforms, to send the military to you to force a vaccination on you? You still waiting for that? Are you waiting to be put into FEMA camps because you have COVID-19? None of that has come to fruition. None of that was ever intended. That was a right-wing construct. So was the monkeypox conversation. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a bona fide fucking moron who's also one of the most dangerous people in America. Believe Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owen at your own peril. But really, shut the fuck up, okay? I see people who I think are relatively intelligent on Facebook posting that this is the media's latest attempt at frightening the population. Shut the fuck up and stop it, okay? Grow up. Start focusing on the shit that's really happening here that is taking away your rights. No one is calling monkeypox anything like COVID. Not any of the CDC people, not any of the World Health Organization experts, nobody. What are they doing? They're warning people that it is passed by close physical contact. They have pictures of it online, what it looks like, so people can identify it. Stop it. Just fucking stop it. Good God, don't you ever get sick of this bullshit? Who else did I have on this list? Let's see. There's more. Megyn Kelly. A mom. I'm a mom. Yeah, big fucking deal. You're one of how many in America? No background check would have stopped this kid. Show me the thing that's going to stop this kid, this next kid. I'll tell you one of the things that's going to stop it, okay? One of the things that's going to stop it is regulating weapons. Okay, one of the things that's going to stop it is banning assault weapons. Even old man Bush understood that those weren't necessary. He's the one, his administration was in place when that law was passed that banned assault weapons across the United States. In the state of Massachusetts, you cannot own an assault weapon. And you know what? I'm good with that. In the state of Massachusetts, not only do you have to present the certificate that you've already taken a safety test, but you have to meet with the police officers in your town before you can get a gun. You have to have a license. And it has to be carried. And that's just fine with me. Because if you're a law-abiding citizen, you don't have any problem with that. You don't have any problem with that whatsoever. If you got something to hide, you get a problem with it. There are things that we can do right now, to start alleviating some of this problem with guns. We just don't have the political will. In fact, the GOP, while performers are pulling out of the NRA event this week, the GOP is flying to Houston to speak in front of the NRA, including the venerable Donald Trump. Megyn Kelly can shut the fuck up. She's not credible on any level. Let me see. Did I miss anybody? I don't know that I did. Let's see. I'm just checking here because, I like to, just run a little double checking myself. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot somebody. Yeah, I don't know how I could have forgotten this one. Kyrsten Sinema. One of the biggest wastes of space in the Democratic Party. I am by no means non-critical of the party, even though I'm advocating that everybody vote Democrat, because you know what? We are in serious trouble here with the GOP, and we're going to get to that before I close out this video. But Kyrsten Sinema, when she was asked about getting rid of the filibuster in order to pass gun legislation, according to Kyrsten, D.C. doesn't have the solutions for this problem. They're not realistic. Well, Kyrsten, maybe you should quit then. Get a fucking job at a bank. I don't know. Somewhere where, what you're doing for a living might have some kind of credibility, since you don't seem to believe that legislating anything in Washington is the solution. I posed the question to you, why are you in this job? Get the fuck out of it then. Okay? Open up that seat for someone who's got a brain in their head. Instead of supporting the party and helping to pass gun legislation. She's decided she's going to engage in conversation with the GOP. Stop it. You've already been talking to the GOP. You know, when you voted against the voting rights bill and other items, they came up and congratulated you and shook your hand. So please, shut the fuck up. No one wants to hear from you. You are so full of shit. I can smell it all the way up here in Massachusetts. And now we move on. I got a couple of things I want to talk to you about. By the way, that conversation with Kyrsten Sinema, that's what is called deflection, okay? That's what she did. Let me remind you of something here. People say to me all the time, how did this happen? How did we get here with abortion rights? How did we get here with the Republicans? How are we doing this? What is going on here? You know, how did we get to this? This is so sudden. You know what? No, it isn't. You know what? I'm a member of People for the American Way, and I'm about to renew my membership today. Okay? And I want to read something to you. I'm not going to read this whole article. I am going to put this in here, but I just want to read something to you so that you understand this. You know? Like many laws and policy decisions handed down from on high, the harm will fall hardest on those with the fewest resources and political power. People of color and low-income people. It is hard to take. How did this happen? So I want you to pay attention to what I'm going to read to you, okay? Pull yourself up a coffee, take a sip, and listen. In the long term, it happened because opponents on the right decided to choose to spend decades building a movement to make it happen. They invested time and money to elect like-minded politicians. They pushed Republican presidents to fill courts with judges who were willing, if not eager, to restrict or ban legal access to abortion. By the way, people, let me break in this reading for a minute. They have been out to overturn Roe v. Wade since the day it fucking passed the Supreme Court, okay? This is not new. They have a determination to make shit happen in a way that the left can only fucking hope to think. They made it a top priority when deciding whether and how to vote. In the short term, it happened because Donald Trump won the 2016 presidential election. To energize the Republican Party's ideological base, Trump promised them judges who would overturn Roe v. Wade. They took the deal Trump offered. They turned out to vote, and with help from Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, Trump gave them the kind of judges they wanted. And now they have the power to impose their will. Americans' freedom will shrink and American families will suffer. In fact, many are already suffering. Anti-choice activists have harassed and sometimes killed abortion providers. That's all on our website, folks. We just updated it. Judges have been letting state legislators pile more and more restrictions on abortion care. As a result, in some states, the right to abortion care may exist in theory, but in reality, it is virtually non-existent because clinics and providers have disappeared. These are hard times and hard decisions ahead. These are also lessons to be learned and acted on. We should pay attention when the far right tells us what they plan to do with their political power. They have been loud and clear about their intent to overturn Roe v. Wade. But many Americans refuse to believe the threat to Roe v. Wade was real. They just could not imagine a 21st century America in which women and doctors are treated like criminals for seeking or providing abortion care. We no longer need to imagine that kind of scenario. We are about to have it. And that is why we also have to pay attention to the consequences of our voting behavior. I promise I'm already done, but you need to fucking hear this. For the most part, the judges who are letting states eliminate access to abortion are the same judges letting states limit voters' access to the ballot box. They're the same judges who restrict the government's ability to regulate harmful corporate behavior. Many of them are the same judges who tried to deny millions of Americans access to health care provided by the Affordable Care Act. The Supreme Court justices and other federal judges who are put in place by the president and the U.S. Senate have jobs for life. That means we are stuck with Trump's judges for many years to come, and that means we all need to think long and hard about who we vote for and about ever passing up the opportunity to vote. Get a clue, people. I hear people say to me all the time, we got Trump out of office. Why can't we just move past him? There's an article here that talks about all of the judges he has appointed, not just Supreme Court justices, but justices in courts across the country on all levels of legal decision making. The other thing at play here is Christian nationalism. You know, there's this group called Pennsylvania for Christ, and under Doug Mastriano, who was actually a Trump acolyte, actually won the GOP primary. And Herschel Walker, by the way, is another one in Georgia running for Senate. But this guy, Mastriano, running for governor, as we move towards the end of this year, we face the greatest transition of our lifetime. We're about to usher in a total change in Pennsylvania's administration that will forever change our state and our nation. This is a leader for the Christian nationalists in Pennsylvania speaking now. Come and be part of a great historical move of God. You people need to really understand what's going on in this country. God, guts, and glory. And these people are the same people that Donald Trump promised all the anti-abortion shit to. You people need to really understand. And the people on the left really need to get a clue. If you're planning on sitting out the fucking midterms and you come on Facebook and you post that, you should be prepared to be ridiculed. You are part of the problem, a very big part of the problem. Now, I realize that there are many people out there who these laws don't affect. But maybe you should think of your daughters and your grandchildren. Maybe you should think of other people for a change instead of just your fucking selves. But oh, hey, don't let me, try to force you into some kind of organizational understanding of just exactly what's going on in this country. But you all need to wake the fuck up because we are in serious trouble. We have people who are Republicans warning you about a return to power for this particular version of the GOP. We're fully 147 of the 221 legislators voted to overturn a legitimate election. Legislators who are now working on laws in their states to oppress people of color from going to the ballot box because they don't vote Republican. Because overall, the Republicans don't legislate, they oppress. And their policies are wildly unpopular, quite frankly. And by the way, there is, yes indeedy do, an objection to making Puerto Rico a state because Puerto Rico won't vote GOP, particularly after the way Donald Trump handled the hurricane there. People, get a fucking clue. They object to Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico will not vote Republican. You need to understand this. They're trying to steal this election before it happens. So they won't have to do January 6th all over again. But by God, if you don't think they would redo that scenario again, you are as dumb as a stump. I will talk to you later. Have a lovely day.